Hello, you join me here again right as I've jumped into a system which is undiscovered. I will bring up the system map to illustrate. You can see it shows the name of the star which I've scanned, but there's no first discovered by label next to it. And the same goes for all the planets in the system. Sometimes you'll find that the star's been claimed, but someone's just not actually taken the time to actually scan anything else in the system. So I'm going to quickly duck around and claim these bits as my own. They're not actually going to have your name appear on them straight away. You need to basically scan them, and then you need to have claimed them back at a station, back in the bubble, before your name will actually appear on them. Now these ones shouldn't take more than a couple of minutes to scan, but as I mentioned on my previous video, different planets and different sized planets require you to be different distances away before it'll actually start scanning them. Now the little countdown timer beneath the reticle here, when that reaches 7 seconds is the best time to actually start decelerating, so that you don't, like that right there, so you don't zip straight on past the planet and miss it again like I did earlier. And then when it starts scanning, I generally throttle down to 0. You can get right up close to the planets if you want to and actually examine them directly, but I stay out here so that I can actually evaluate what the planet is first, and then obviously get a closer look if it seems to be anything of interest. Basically, by staying this far out, you don't get caught in the gravitational well of the planet, which obviously would cause it to accelerate away much slower. On the navigation panel on the left, each of the bits you haven't explored still show up there. I generally choose the next one down and zip off around and scan whatever's the next closest on the list. Not necessarily the fastest way to do it, but you know, it on the actual system map, what looks like a straight line of planets, this one for example could be on the opposite side of the star to that one, in which case you'd be flying all the way around here and back again and back again. I just find this is my my preferred way of flying around and scanning it. I'll not scan everything in the system. I'll just carry on to the next leg of my journey in a second. You'll notice also, the further away you get from the star, the central star that you drop into, the more detail you'll see in the sky. Basically, when you drop into the system, the star is obviously the brightest thing right next to you, so obviously it'll blot out most of the detail in the night sky. So over there you can see, for example, Barnard's Loop. Behind me I believe there'll be the Coalsack Nebula, which I'm starting to get further away from now. There it is off in the distance there, the big black blob there. Right, I'll zip on to the next system. I'm hoping to find a few different types of planets along the route as well. Obviously most of these are high metallic and rock and what have you.
Frameshift drive charging.
An interesting little point that I'll show to you in a second as we drop into this next star. Actually, there's a couple of points I'll make here. I'm going to sit just close to the star just to illustrate the actual heat effect of the star on your ship. Currently it's showing at 57% on my HUD. Obviously the closer I get, the more that'll start to heat up. And if I just sit here The scoop will probably just tend to keep scooping, but I will be gaining a little bit of temperature because I'm getting quite close to it. There is a good range, obviously. If you can keep it around about the 60% mark, then obviously you're doing fine. But when it gets to 80%, which I'll try and illustrate here, you can see on the little HUD there the red sun indicating I'm obviously taking heat from there. It's up to 74% now. When it gets to 80%, you'll get a warning. Of course, now I'm trying to actually gain heat, it's not going to do it, is it? Yeah, you can hear the alarm going off and steam coming off my HUD here. You won't start taking damage on your ship until that temperature gauge gets to 100%. Which I'm going to try and illustrate again. You can hear the alarms getting ever more urgent. This is basically a time when you'd really be wanting to get out. You can see the things start fizzing and popping as you get to 100%. I'm at 102% or 101% depending on which gauge you're looking at. But obviously you zip away, and as soon as you're out of the actual heat zone of the star, your ship starts to cool down quite nicely again. But your modules will start to take a bit of damage like that. The frameshift drive, fuel scoop and distributor have also taken a bit of damage, along with the discovery scanner. It's not anything major unless of course you get caught really badly, but sometimes when you jump into the system it will drop you into what's known as a binary system, which is two stars orbiting one another, often in quite close proximity, so some of them really haven't got a lot of gap between the two of them. If it drops you into one of those, your heat will start to ramp up very quickly because you've got two competing heat sources right next to you. You'll want to get out of there quite quickly, so just find the safest route or the quickest route away from them and pop one of the heat sinks, which you can see I've got listed along the side here. I'll illustrate the effect of a heatsink on the next jump in. You'll see also in the bottom right corner where my fuel gauge is. There's an orange line with a blue tip to it on the end there, and a smaller line just above that. Those are your fuel gauges. The big line is basically like a large chunk of your fuel, whereas the thinner line just above it is sort of like a macro indicator. When that smaller line gets to nothing at the end there, it'll take a block of fuel off your main fuel gauge. Currently what that blue indicator marks on the right hand side there is the amount of fuel that your next jump is going to take out of your fuel tank. So if I hit frameshift drive here, as soon as it hits the jump and puts me into hyperspace, you'll see that blue block disappear and that chunk of fuel will be spent. Like that. Right, okay, I'm going to scan this system, scan the star, and I'm going to get up close and personal with this one. I'm just going to creep towards it, because I don't really want to hit the exclusion zone. In fact, actually, yeah, sorry, I'm going to hit the exclusion zone and illustrate to you exactly what that does, in case you haven't done this before yourself. Basically, this is the point at which you don't want to be. Yeah, you hit the exclusion zone, it knocks you out of Super Cruise and back into normal flight. Now, when you're spooling up your frameshift drive, the temperature on your ship will automatically start to rise quite significantly because it takes a lot of heat from it. But being this close to the star, it's going to really ramp up quite significantly. So what you need to do is you need to aim away from the star, literally have it directly behind you, because when you go into super cruise, I'll need to go into super cruise on this occasion because the target I'm trying to get to is the other side of the star, so I can't jump directly out of the system from here, not to the location I've got set anyway. So hold Y and press up on the D-pad for super cruise, and it shows you your escape vector. That's directly away from the star, but you'll see the temperature ramping up quite significantly, and it'll start hitting 100 soon. So I'll pop a heatsink, and you'll see the temperature dropping right down to 0 there, and in a second you'll see some ice forming up on the screen, like so. So basically, if you drop too close to a star, or in particular a neutron star or a black hole, you really want to be using those when you're escaping, because those are hot little buggers. Right, have a quick look and see what's in the system. We've got a gas giant here, again undiscovered, directly ahead of us. So any second now it'll start scanning. There we are. As I said, within about 1,000 light seconds of these they'll generally start scanning. Sometimes you have to get closer depending on the actual size. You can see it's got several moons around it. You need to get significantly closer to actually scan those, but as a general rule they're pretty much just rock and ice. Sometimes you will find crazy little Earth-likes or water worlds or ammonia worlds in amongst these, but those look like they're all icy worlds or rocky worlds, and you don't get a lot of cash for those. Right, I'm going to head on to the next system.
Frameshift drive charging.
Right, okay, just to illustrate a mistake I've made there. When I went back into Super Cruise I didn't put it back into Flight Assist off mode, so I had to decelerate there. This is a system where obviously you can see, because of this line, these two stars are orbiting one another. Whereas this little fella doesn't have any direct orbit around either of them. He's sort of all on his own out there. And he's 11,000 light seconds out from the star. So yeah, he's a short distance away from where we want to be. If it's a binary system, as I said, generally the stars are quite close. This one's a little way away, but with binary systems you can usually scan the secondary star from the exact point you drop into. Just wait for it to finish scanning. And now target us to go back onto the course we were on before. I'll just get round this one. Just get out of the scooping zone. I'll decelerate.
Frameshift drive charging.
Drop out of Super Cruise, flight assist off, and when the frameshift is cooled down,
Frameshift drive
I am now
charging.
going to jump back onto the next system.
Ready to engage. 4, 3, 2, 1. Engage.
Now this looks like a slightly different star up ahead. Probably one of the blue whites or the... oh, maybe not. That one's certainly a bright one. So in this system there's over 31 objects discovered. And you can see there's a small gas giant with rings around it there. That's almost certainly high metallic. And this here, this one's quite interesting because this is another star that's inside the system. Now another point to make here, these two planets here, connected by this line here, that indicates that these two are in an orbit around each other. So basically if I were to, these ones are actually undiscovered, obviously someone's discovered part of the system here, up to there, and then left this bit unattended. So if we select that one, generally when you find that two planets are orbiting one another, it'll be the case that they'll be right next to each other, so you can usually scan one, immediately target the next one and start scanning straight away, because they're in a very close proximity to one another. Yeah, my throttle just dipped there because I went back into the, I came back in from an external camera, and when it's in flight assist off mode, you jump back into your ship and it'll put you to 0 throttle. So they've started scanning, so I'll throttle back. Now the way to spot them on here, obviously you've got the orange one, which is the one you're currently selecting. Now another one would have, the one that's orbiting it would have exactly or very nearly the same distance attached to it, so it's most likely going to be that one there. The other ones will be moons around the first planet. Basically they're all indented to indicate they're actually orbiting this particular planet here. So if I scan that one, select that one, it'll then start scanning the other one that they're orbiting. We'll go in and have a slightly closer look. Xbox unsnap. Sorry, my Xbox is doing something crazy there. That's a gas giant with ammonia. It's got ammonia-based life on the planet, it seems. As you can see, these two are orbiting each other quite closely. The one on the right has got several moons orbiting that one. There's the ammonia-based one. Generally, ammonia-based stuff has got a rather browny-green tinge to it. Just because it's brown and what have you doesn't necessarily mean it is ammonia, but there's a higher chance that that's what it's going to be. Right, now I'm going to highlight the other interesting object that was in this system, which was the brown dwarf. Now you can see the hologram on the left has changed. That's basically the hologram you'll find for stars. So don't be surprised if you find stars actually inside the systems as well. On the system map, generally you'll find that stars are lined up down here. These are all the primary stars, but you do often find stars in amongst the actual orbital. Now this one should start scanning shortly. It's going to be much smaller than the main star I jumped in on, so it might need to be a little bit closer than some of the other ones. I'll wait for that one to scan and then carry on my journey. Also, don't be too surprised to see some of these stars have actually got rocky rings around them as well.
Frameshift drive charging.
Right, on to the next system. I've got 9 jumps left to the destination I'm heading. And my maximum jump range is around about 47 light years currently. These ones, well, the first one's already discovered, as is often the case anyway. So that one there, but they haven't actually scanned the secondary star there, so I'm going to target that one. Although I can see kind of why now. It's 52, while it's orbiting this one, it's 52,000 light seconds away, so it's quite a way away. So yeah, I can understand that that one's been skipped. I'll leave that for someone else who's got a bit more determination or a bit more time on their hands than I have at the moment. Right, so this is a Tauri star, so it's not scoopable. You can hear that obviously I'd normally be in the scoopable range, but it's not giving me anything.
Frameshift drive charging.
The next star's an M class 1, so I'll be able to fuel scoop from it. Plotted what I think to be quite an interesting end to this route. It's one that I've seen advertised by someone on one of the Facebook forums, and a place I wanted to actually come and have a look at. Yeah, and again another system that's not been discovered. We'll scan the star. We won't scan the secondary star because that looks like it's going to be around about 453,000 light seconds out. That's quite a long slog to get out there. But might so I give that first one a scan. I'm reckoning it's probably just going to be a metallic, but it could possibly be an ammonia. Pick up the fuel first. Yes, the 0.75 that's on the fuel scoop indicates obviously is relative to the 750 that you'll see at scooping rate at the moment.
Fuel scooping complete.
The fuel scoop I've got on my Anaconda I think is a 7B. That one scoops at a rate of about 1064. But the Anaconda uses much more fuel to actually jump systems as well because it's much heavier. Just throttle down at the 7-second marker. I think you can leave it very slightly later to the 6-second, but I find doing it at the 7-second marker at least you don't overshoot so much. It's high metallic, I thought it probably would be.
Frameshift drive charging.
Head on to the next one. Yeah, you'll begin to see obviously as you start exploring that Earth-like worlds are pretty rare, along with ammonia worlds. You'll see quite a lot of water worlds around. But the most common are the rocky and the metallic. You can make a living by scanning metallic planets, I suppose, given the quantity they sort of show up in. But they don't make a massive amount of credits individually. It's just a case of when you've got lots of them that you've scanned that it mounts up. Just seeing how far away these different bits are. It is possible to actually tell or have a good guess at what type of planet they are from the sounds they make, but either my ear's not tuned in or I don't have my volume up loud enough to actually be able to like pick one out so much from the other. But water worlds have like the sound of waves crashing. The metallic ones have like a metallic sort of scraping sort of sound. There are YouTube videos available to actually demonstrate what each of them sound like, but yeah, I've never had either good enough headphones or a good enough ear to actually pick out what they are. I just generally go and investigate what I think is what.
Fuel scooping.
Some nice solar flares here.
Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
Another great thing about the ASP Explorer over the Anaconda is the actual view you get all around. Because the Anaconda, the nose, you're basically on the very top of the ship, and it's a very big ship, and it's a long nose ahead of you, and you can't see anything down below you. All you can see is what's alongside or above. But this has got a nice massive glass canopy, so you get some fantastic views of everything around you. Throttle up and head on round.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Frameshift drive charging.
When you're out discovering and putting your name on systems, an interesting note to point is if you're out exploring with friends and you're winged up together, and I believe you both have to be in the same system at the same time, it is possible to actually get both your names on the same planet, star or moon if you scan it when you're both there together. I don't know if you actually have to hand it still be in the wing when you hand it in together. I was with a friend of mine, and both our names appeared right next to the planet, so that was obviously an unexpected bonus. Didn't expect that. Just gonna have a quick investigate and see what this planet here is.
Fuel scooping. Fuel scooping complete. Fuel scoop disengaged.
Is again probably just a metallic, but it had a very bluish tint, so it could be a water world. Probably not an Earth-like, but quite possibly a water world. Seven seconds. Decelerate into the blue zone on the throttle. It is a water world indeed. We'll get up a bit closer and have a look at this one. Oh, I throttled up too much. We'll use the gravity of the planet to try and slow us down a bit. Go around to the brighter side and have a quick look at this. You can see the snowy ice cap there. And lots of cloud. And it looks like a bit of a nasty storm over that way. Right. Now we'll target our next system. Head on over that way. We're just a few jumps out from the main event, as it were, which will have an interesting consequence which I'd like to show you.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Okay, that was a binary system. You saw the other stars zipping on past as we were dropping in there. It wasn't particularly close, thank goodness. It was off up that way somewhere. There's one there. Oh, there's another star off in the distance there as well. So we'll get a scan on these. See if there's anything else of interest in the system at all. Oh, well, there's a lot of brown dwarfs by the looks of it. Won't worry about the last one. Right, we'll fuel scoop on our way past here. It always pays to top up at most of the stars that are scoopable that you pass, because you never know when you're going to encounter a large section with just the brown dwarfs that we saw back there, or just non-scoopable stars like the towery ones.
Frameshift drive charging.
It is easy enough to obviously stop partway through your course and obviously just filter out the galaxy map and actually find a scoopable star nearby, but I'll show you that on another video.
4, 3, 2, 1, engage.
Nearly at the final destination. Again, another system that's unexplored. You don't really have to travel that far out of the bubble to actually find unexplored systems. You'd think you would have to, but there are so many of them around that it's well, even with all the players that have played it across PC and Xbox, there are still stop listening. Xbox, stop listening. Sorry. Yeah, there are still many systems which are yet to be discovered. That looks like it's all pretty much rocks there. And as I said before, rocks don't make you a lot.
Fuel scooping.
There was a time early on in exploring where I literally would have gone around and scanned absolutely everything all the time, but with like 10 billion systems and often like about 30 items per system in many cases, it's a bit much for one person to scan everything.
Frameshift drive charging.
So the last couple of jumps. See Barnard's Loop up there again. One of my first exploration trips from the bubble was out to Barnard's Loop and the Witchhead Nebula, which is in the middle between there and the bubble. It's a bit trickier now because there are lots of systems around Barnard's Loop that are system locked. You need permits on there. Frontier will basically lock them off for one purpose or another, presumably for story purposes later on in the game. But it does make navigating around that area a bit tricky because if you get caught in amongst them all, you've got to plot either your way directly back the way you came, or you need to plot up and over the very top. Sometimes you have to go about 1,000 light years up above it to actually sort of to get past it. Right. Now this is the this one's obviously not scoopable, but now onto the system that I've been planning to have a look at for a couple of weeks.
Frameshift drive charging. Four, three, two, one, engage.
And I just hope that it decelerates me when I get out of this jump. That one looks a bit bright, doesn't it? Whoa. Right, and what I was hoping to look at, oh, you can see like here, these aren't specifically orbiting anything. You've got the main star here and two minor stars which are orbiting each other there, but you've got lots and lots of different stars all in a line along here, some of which are orbiting each other, some of which are in a trinary orbit. You've got that one which is orbiting these two which are orbiting each other. It's some of these get a bit confusing in terms like they're almost like family flowcharts, you know what I mean? They look a little bit crazy. But this is the object that I came here to look at. I'm kind of relieved that it wasn't actually the main star in the system, because I can imagine that being quite terrifying to drop into those. Now these two little fellas over here, these are neutron stars. They're very small, but they have a very high gravitational pull because of their rotation rate. Basically, these are stars that have got a some enormous mass, but have been so compacted into such a small size, but they're not quite going to break into being a black hole. They're stopping just short of becoming a black hole. But this is two of them orbiting each other quite closely, and those cones look quite vicious. I'm going to sort of pull out this way a bit. With neutron stars you need to get quite close to scan them. As you can see, I'm 21 light seconds away and it's still not quite scanning them. Okay, this is getting a bit scary. Now these cones that are spewing out of them, that's basically the matter that they're spewing out of the north and south poles of the star. And you don't really want to get caught in them, because yeah, they can start damaging your hull and start battering you about a bit. Some of them are more gentle than others, but if you fly through the cones of these, basically it'll supercharge your frameshift drive and you can get much higher jump range from it. I will experiment with it in a second. I want to scan them first, if it'll let me. There's one. At the same time, we don't want to get into the exclusion zone of these things, because they are quite vicious. Basically, if you drop out of supercruise in one of those cones, you're pretty much done for, because it'll rip your ship apart and you won't be able to get back into supercruise. Yeah, that looks pretty nasty. Question is now, am I brave enough to try this? No, it didn't actually go as far as supercharging me. So I wasn't in there long enough, obviously. That looks pretty mean. Oh shit. Right, okay, need to get out of here. Frameshift drive is now charged. So my 47 light year jump range has now, ta-da, become 199, sorry, 189.50.54 for my next jump. So I can do a single jump now of 189 light years. Yeah, and that's obviously quite a massive boost. It does, of course, take a little bit of toll again on some of your internals. But if you've got like the repair unit, obviously you can repair most of these things. As I said at the beginning of the video, or at the beginning of the last video perhaps, you cannot actually repair your power plant. That's one thing. Power plant and hull are the two things you cannot repair once they're damaged unless you go back to a station. But yeah, basically that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, I hope it helped, and good luck. See you on the dark side.